Welcome back to the Book Nook podcast. Ready to get cozy? Today we're doing a deep dive into Sally Rooney's Intermezzo.
Oh yeah, Intermezzo. Her latest write.
It is.
Lots of buzz around this one, I hear.
Yeah, it's causing quite a stir. Some people are calling it her most mature work.
Really?
Yeah, and then others are just not really feeling it.
Interesting.
To really get into it, today we've got a ton of stuff.
Okay.
Reviews, obviously online discussions, and even some interviews with Rooney herself.
Cool. So for anyone out there who maybe hasn't read her other books,
Yeah.
like Conversations with Friends or Normal People,
Yeah.
Rooney really focuses on millennial stuff.
Relationship.
Social dynamics.
Exactly.
This one, Intermezzo, it's about two brothers.
Okay.
Peter.
Uh-huh.
He's a lawyer in Dublin, doing really well,
Successful.
Successful.
Got it.
Ivan is the other brother, a chess player.
Oh, cool.
Their father just died.
Oh, so they're both dealing with that.
Yeah. It's actually a really interesting look at grief.
What do you mean?
Wait, see, Peter, he's got it all right.
Mm.
But on the inside, he's really struggling.
So it's like grief can be hidden even when someone seems fine.
Exactly. And then there are their love lives.
Oh, yeah, relationships. Always a big thing with Rooney.
Right. So Peter's actually seeing two women.
Two.
Mm.
Okay.
Sylvia is his long-term partner. She's an academic. And then there's Naomi. She's a student, much younger.
Not complicated.
Ivan, on the other hand, is with Margaret, who's older than him. So we're not just talking about romantic love here, but like deeper stuff too.
Intimacy connection, finding
Right.
meaning, with this backdrop of loss.
Yes. I have to say, though, the first thing that really struck me was her writing style.
Oh, yeah, how so?
Well, especially with Peter, she uses this stream of consciousness.
Oh, wow.
It's like a whirlwind of his thoughts and all his dialogue.
Sounds intense.
It is.
Ah.
And there are no quotation marks, so you really have to pay attention.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you're like in his head completely.
Exactly. I saw this one YouTube review where someone said they had to like concentrate so hard during those sections.
Yeah.
They said
Okay.
Ivan's chapters were much easier to follow.
I wonder if that's intentional, like reflecting their personality.
Totally. Peter's this, successful guy, but inside everything is racing.
Makes sense. Blurred lines between what he's thinking and what he's saying.
Yeah. And then you have Ivan the chess player. Everything is deliberate structured.
Right. Like his narration.
I think Rooney wants us to see the world through their eyes.
To really understand them, how they think, how they feel.
It's fascinating.
It is. And not just a stylistic thing either, right? This really gets at the heart of how they each experience the world.
I'm loving this deep dive.
Yeah.
Seeing the book from different angles like this is amazing.
Me too. It's so insightful.
By the way, if you're enjoying this, be sure to subscribe to the Book Nook podcast for more.
Yes, and leave us a review if you're loving it. Helps other bookworms find us,
So, back to Intermezzo. One thing that's sparking a lot of discussion is how it connects to all this literary tradition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the end of the book, Rooney includes all these quotes from other writers.
Like she's giving us clues or something.
Right. In one YouTube review, they talked about James Joyce and Virginia Woolf.
Oh, wow. Those are some big names.
Right. Both of them were masters of stream of consciousness.
Huh. I could actually see the Joyce comparison, especially with Peter's chapters.
Me too.
Yeah.
That feeling of diving into his chaotic inner world.
Yeah, like Ulysses. You really have to work as a reader.
Exactly. It makes you think Intermezzo isn't just this contemporary story.
It's got deeper roots.
It's like part of a bigger conversation about love and grief,
Yeah, one that's been going on for centuries.
with Rooney adding her own voice to it.
I like that.
Me too.
Intermezzo, it gets into some pretty touchy stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there's this whole thing with incel culture.
Oh, right.
That online community.
Yeah, where they basically hate women.
Right. Lots of anger and resentment, feeling rejected, like they can't get a girlfriend.
Some of the reviews said that Rooney didn't really criticize Ivan's past enough
Oh, interesting.
because he used to have those kinds of views.
Yeah, that could be tricky, especially for readers who've experienced that kind of toxicity firsthand.
It is definitely controversial.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why people would be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but Rooney's not trying to say it's okay or anything.
Right, she's showing us these flawed
To
character.
make us think,
Mm.
about the nuances of being human, even the dark parts.
It raises a good question, though, about how much responsibility an author has.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have to condemn every bad idea, or can they just present it and let the reader figure it out?
It's a tough one. I know. I was going back and forth with Ivan,
Yeah.
trying to figure out why he felt that way before.
Uh-huh.
And if his relationship with Margaret is actually real growth or just him shifting his anger onto someone new.
That ambiguity is what makes it so interesting to me.
You don't get easy answers.
No. And real life is messy like that, too. It makes you confront things,
And see things from different sides.
even if you don't agree with them.
Totally. I felt like Rooney was holding up a mirror
Oh, wow. I like that.
to society, I mean,
Yeah.
showing us how we struggle with identity and connection.
And trying to find meaning when everything feels so isolating.
Exactly. Another thing some people were talking about was the female characters.
Like Sylvia and Naomi,
Yeah. Some reviewers felt like they weren't developed enough.
compared to the brothers.
Yeah. I did find myself wanting to know more about Sylvia especially.
Me too.
But I also wondered if that was intentional, like maybe Rooney's making a point.
What do you mean?
Well, about how women are often marginalized,
Yeah.
even in literature.
Yeah. Like their voices are silenced or overlooked.
So maybe she's challenging us to think about that.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. Makes you think about how we read female characters in general.
Do we expect them to be perfectly relatable?
Yeah, or can we handle them being more ambiguous?
Leaving room for our own interpretation.
There's a lot of different opinions on Intermezzo. Some people loved it, some didn't,
Yeah, I saw that.
which is a good thing. It means it's getting people talking.
Exactly. But let's talk about some of the criticisms.
Okay. Like what specifically?
Well, some people thought it was too long
Oh, yeah, I can see that. It's not exactly a page turner.
and that there wasn't enough plot.
It's definitely more internal.
Yeah. You really have to be okay with slowing down and getting into those quiet moments.
To appreciate the subtle stuff.
The emotional layer.
It's like savoring a good meal,
Instead of just gulping it down.
Exactly. And then there was that repetition thing,
Yeah. I think Rooney keeps coming back to certain ideas.
like from her other books.
That whole normalcy thing.
Right. What does it even mean to be normal?
We saw that in conversations with friends and normal people.
And now it's back in Intermezzo.
So is this book just a rehash or is it something new?
I think it's both. I mean, she
Yeah.
definitely has her style. Intimate relationships, nuance in the dialogue, showing us people's flaws and all.
Yeah.
But the themes in Intermezzo, they feel more mature, like grief and family stuff.
And her writing has evolved too,
Especially with the stream of consciousness, it's definitely a more challenging read.
but also potentially more rewarding.
I agree.
This deep dive is making me want to reread the book already.
Me too.
I bet you guys feel the same way, right?
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this, be sure to subscribe to the Book Nug podcast. And if you're loving it, leave us a review. It helps other book lovers find us. I was struck by something in the reviews.
What's that?
How many people talked about the emotion in Intermezzo?
Yeah.
Like raw emotion.
Oh, yeah.
One person even said it felt like watching a live performance.
Wow.
Like being right there with the characters.
Rooney is good at that, though, making you feel like you're in their heads.
Totally. And she doesn't shy away from the hard stuff either.
What do you mean?
Like the not so pretty emotions, One reviewer mentioned how the word hate kept popping up.
No.
Yeah. And how powerful that was.
It's a strong word. We don't use it that much anymore.
Right. But Rooney uses it on purpose, I think. Like she's saying, hey, this is real.
This is part of being human,
We can love and hate at the same time.
even in the same relationship.
Exactly. And our culture tries to oversimplify things.
Yeah, like good or bad, right or wrong.
Rooney's characters are more complicated than that.
They're messy,
They're human.
for sure.
Reading Intermezzo was like looking into a kaleidoscope.
Oh, I like that.
All these different emotions swirling around.
It's a book that stays with you.
It really does.
I think that's a sign of how her writing has matured.
It's not just about the characters getting older.
It's deeper than that.
She's not afraid to explore the whole human experience.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And she does it so well, with such nuance.
It makes you think.
She doesn't tell you what to think, though,
No, she just shows you.
and lets you draw your own conclusions.
That's what makes great literature so powerful.
It challenges us to think for ourselves,
To see things from different angles.
to grow.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key takeaways from Intermezzo? What do we want our listeners to remember?
Well, this book has definitely got people talking.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's pushing boundaries, making us uncomfortable.
Tackling tough topics.
Love it or hate it, Intermezzo is a book that makes you think.
And feel.
Yeah. It's a powerful book.
Makes you look inward at your own relationship,
At yourself.
at how we all deal with these big emotions.
This honesty.
I couldn't have said it better myself. If you're intrigued by all this,
Definitely pick up a copy of Intermezzo.
see what you think. You might be surprised.
Yeah.
A big thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into Intermezzo.
It was fun.
If you want to grab a copy of the book, we've got a link for you in the episode description.
Easy peasy.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Book Nook podcast for more great book discussions.
We'll be back soon with another one.
See you next time.